Hi, I'm Chef Matt at the Goldring Center for Culinary Medicine at Tulane University, and I'm going to show you how to make segments or supremes out of orange slices today, and you go over the best uses for this cut. The easiest way to use the most of your citrus fruits is to use their zest in any of your cooking. It will pack more flavor into your dish and utilize more of your produce. For zesting any type of citrus, you'll only need a microplane or a very thin grater. Here's a couple of examples of what they could look like. The one on the right has a slightly bigger portion to it on the bottom end and a very small portion on the top. That bigger portion is great for things like cheese, whereas the small portion is great for zest. There's two ways to zest using microplanes. The first way is to move the citrus back and forth, keeping the microplane steady, and the other way is to keep the citrus steady and move the zester forward and back. I wasn't taught this way in culinary school, but I do prefer this method because I can see exactly how much I need to rotate the citrus to get the most utilization out of it. You want to press down very lightly and let the tiny blades do the work for you. The sweet and fragrant zest we want shouldn't be a part of that white area or what is known as the pith of the fruit. That area will be very bitter and not taste pleasurable. Most often than not, if you don't rotate the fruit enough or zest too long in one spot, you'll end up cutting into the pith, so be vigilant for that. But what I'm showing you right now is exactly the zest that you want. This is a perfectly beautiful, fragrant zest that is not bitter at all. I'll show you zesting too far into the pith that you start to see a little bit of a spot of white start to appear, and that's when you know you've gone too far. Traditionally, chefs will zest with the citrus on top of the zester and rotate the citrus. However, I found that an easier way to control your landing zone and see how deep you are zesting into the fruit is to use the first method, but this method is just as useful. To create the supremes, the first thing that we're going to do is to cut the two ends of the orange, and with our non-dominant hand, place it into a claw formation, gripping onto the fruit. From there, you're going to set the orange on the cutting board upright, and you'll be able to cut in a curve around the outside of the orange to not only remove the rind, but the internal pith, which is also the white fibers and the skin surrounding the flesh of the orange. We will continue around the orange until all of the pith and the rind has been removed. And the reason why we do this cut is to give a much cleaner and more elegant presentation to the fruit, which removes all of the undesirable rind and fibers from the peel. So what we're left with is the fruit still in between all of the membranes holding it together. And I'm going to personally switch to my paring knife because for this use I don't like using my chef knife. I like to have a little bit of a smaller tool that fits better in my hand. But you can definitely continue on with your chef knife. Just proceed with caution very carefully. So we're going to cut on the inside of each membrane, which carefully releases the orange flesh from between the two white lines of the membrane itself. And as we do this, we want to aim for a pronounced V shape for a beautiful clean line, which elevates this knife cut as so. Optimal storage for oranges is to store them in room temperature out of direct sunlight or in the refrigerator for up to 2 weeks, depending on your preference. We recommend to not keep the fruit in a plastic bag or in an airtight container because it will definitely cause the fruit to get moldy and soft a lot quicker. Most commonly, this technique is done in the palm of our hand, but for a safer alternative, you can definitely place the fruit on the cutting board itself. After you have cut all the segments from the membranes, the inside is still good and has plenty of juice in it, and us as chefs, we would go ahead and use it to squeeze out and use in a vinaigrette or in a sauce, and you can do just the same at home. You can use the rind also that was cut and create candied orange rinds, infuse oils, use them for candles, or even for cleaning purposes. So here's our finished product. This cut is great for slices on desserts such as a fruit tart, placed in salads with greens, fruit salad, and as a snack. Ready to get cooking? Check out our website for more lesson videos and recipes at goldringcenter.tulane.edu.